nutrition, and women healthcare. So after we have understood some of the major concepts that are facing working women, I will take you deeper into the nutritional aspects of these matters. So the first topic that we'll be discussing is the role of snacks and lunchbox diets on working women well-being. So according to a national survey, 40% of the population majority is of women. For example, in India, they consume less than 80% of their energy requirement, mostly due to their working condition. So some of the health organizations has shown that there is about 33% that women in the age group of 15 to 49 will fall under the category of malnourished, having a BMI under 18.5. This will show a relatively high incidence of prevalent chronic energy deficiency, therefore a major issue that we need to focus on. So about 88% of adolescents, girls, for example, will have anemia, and about 85% of pregnant women will have severe anemia, and the prevalence can be higher among lactating women. So recent research indicates that about 60% of deaths of children under the age of 5 are somewhat associated with malnutrition, and it is strongly correlated with the mother-born nutritional status. So in order to improve the outcome for even children, we need to focus on women nutritional status. So the importance of women's health is that better nutrition means stronger immune system, fewer incidents of illnesses, and better health in general. And the nutritional status of women is important both for the quality of their own life as well as the survival and healthy development of their children. As healthy women can fulfill their multiple roles, they're generating income, ensuring their family's nutrition, and also having healthy children. So this will be more effective and thereby help in advancing countries' socio-economic development as an overall outcome. So improving the women nutrition can also help the nations achieve their 3 of the Millennium Development Goals, which are commonly accepted as the framework for measuring development progress. So the Millennium Development Goal are that the first one is the eradication of extreme poverty and hunger, in which the proportions of people who suffer from hunger have been reduced to half. So how can we improving women and adolescents girl nutrition help in achieving this goal is by having a well-nourished women who are better able to provide for themselves, their children, and their families as well. Also, well-nourished mothers are more likely to have infants with healthy birth weight, and such children are less likely to have suffer from malnutrition in general. And for the second goal, which is reducing children mortality, this was reduced by 2/3 between 1990 and 2015 in the under 5 mortality rate. So improving women's health can help by having well-nourished mothers that are less likely to bear a low birth weight babies, who are even more likely to die in infancy. Also, well-nourished mothers are more likely to have healthy babies who can survive during their childhood illnesses. While for the third Millennium Development Goal is the improvement of maternal health by reducing 3/4 in these development status, as women with adequate stores of iron and other micronutrients are less likely to suffer from fatal infections and are more likely to survive bleeding, for example, during and after childbirth. So well-nourished adolescent mothers are less likely to experience any obstructed labor than their undernourished peers. So the factors that affect the nutritional status of women include the household income and its utilization, also quality of the environment, numbers of siblings, as well as vulnerability to gender discrimination, their educational level, her activity status, and exposure to social stimulants, as well as decision-making power at the household. So poor nutrition throughout the life cycle will have even increased risk of adult chronic disease, impaired mental development, having higher mortality rates. Also, it would lead to baby low birth weight, uh, having stunted children by reducing their mental capacities. Also, adolescent stunting that is due to inadequate food and health care, as well as higher maternal mortality rate in malnourished women. So having satisfactory or good women health in terms of nutrition will impact the whole family as well as the woman in herself by affecting each life stage that she goes through. So improving nutrition throughout the woman life is by addressing the needs of girls and women as well throughout their life. So the life cycle approach to have the best possible outcome and can improve women's nutritional status. Also, many nutritional deficiencies are experienced in infancy and childhood, which have irreversible consequences. So interventions to support adequate nutrition from infancy and onward will directly benefit the women later on in life. So for the nutrition requirement in adolescence, the energy requirement is somewhat between 2,300 calories up to 2,000 and almost 500 calories. These are different between the age range, depending, of course, on the person's physical activities and their height, as well as their nutritional goals. Also, we need to ensure that they have adequate protein and minerals, in specific calcium, ferritin as well as zinc. Also, for vitamins, we need to ensure sufficient intake of B vitamins, including B1, B2, niacin, pyridoxine, and B12, as well as vitamin D, as these will have some functional integrity of the newly formed cells that are dependent on vitamin A, as well as C and E. So some of the nutritional problems that women face include obesity and more commonly anemia, also undernutrition and premenstrual syndrome, as well as eating disorders that are more common in females than in males. These include anorexia nervosa, bulimia, and binge eating. So adolescent girls need access to information as well as services that relate to nutrition, also reproductive health, family planning, and general health guidance. Therefore, programs can reach girls throughout a variety of avenues, including schools, workplace, and youth-oriented health programs. So they need education and literacy to improve nutrition, and therefore they should receive enough food, including iron and folate supplements and iodine fortified food. Also, they need to use their knowledge of nutrition when they are preparing and handling food that can also improve their health and that of their families. They need also twice yearly deworming prophylaxis in some countries, as well as developing life skills to avoid early pregnancies. That is also vital. And in regard to pregnant mothers' nutrition, they will have different energy requirements as they would need an additional 350 kilocalories to match their energy requirement before pregnancy. Also, their protein intake shouldn't be less than 80 grams if they don't have any contraindicated health condition, such as, for example, renal disease. And in regard to minerals, they would need sufficient intake of calcium, folate, iodine, and zinc, as well as they will have increased need for certain vitamins, such as vitamin D, A, and E, as well as K and C. in addition to B vitamins and more specifically folic acid, in specific also during their first trimester. So for some micronutrient deficiencies, in specific for iron, anemia is responsible for about 35% of preventable low birth weight infants. And infants who are born to anemic mothers are at a greater risk of low birth weight, premature birth, and even impaired cognitive development. And for vitamin A, having low maternal stores will compromise the children's stores of vitamin A as well, therefore putting those children at a greater risk of illness and even death. And for iodine, its deficiency in mothers that are more likely to suffer from miscarriage or even have a stillborn child. So the physical growth and mental development of the children who do survive is often severely impaired, and therefore children may suffer from irreversible mental retardation that could probably have been avoided if the woman's nutritional status was sufficient or well-nourished before pregnancy. Also, for folate and other B vitamins, its deficiency at the time of conception can cause a neural tube defect in infants, and the maternal zinc deficiency is also associated with preterm delivery, low birth weight, as well as increased infant mortality. And some other B vitamins, including B6, B12, are also important for ensuring children healthy neurological development and best outcome for them. So the complications that women can face include anemia and toxemia or even pregnancy-induced hypertension or even eclampsia in severe cases, as well as gestational diabetes. So all of these can be prevented if the woman's nutritional status was maintained to a well-nourished status before pregnancy. So what can we do as an intervention in this case? We need to have access to sufficient quality and quantity of food, including during pregnancy as well as lactation. Also having regular consumption of iron and folate supplements when pregnant and for at least 3 months after a childbirth to reduce the maternal anemia and improve pregnancy and lactation outcomes. Also, we should receive other micronutrients as needed. In addition, having regular salt consumption with adequate level of iodines to prevent fatal brain damage that are associated with iodine deficiency. And in areas where many women suffer from CED and higher incidence of low birth weight, pregnant and lactating women may need higher energy intake or food supplements. So educational programs and public information campaigns can also help in addressing any cultural norms that prevent women from eating enough. And for women who are exclusively breastfeeding, during the first 6 months of the infant life, they will benefit as well as the child. So breastfeeding will protect the infant and children from illnesses and help in ensuring healthy growth and development of the child, as well as starting breastfeeding soon after birth can help in preventing excessive maternal feeding. So breastfeeding for up to 2 years can also help the mothers keep their iron level up by delaying the return of menstruation. Also, estimates suggest that improving breastfeeding practice by encouraging the women to breastfeed their infants will immediately after birth avoid supplement feeding for at least the first 6 months. That could save the life of about 1.5 children each year. So the nutrition requirement is different, of course, for different age groups, depending on the mother nutritional status before and during pregnancies, as well as the infant outcome. In addition, having adequate nutrition during older age in women can be helpful in preventing osteoporosis, obesity, degenerative diseases like CAD, cancer, and diabetes, or even hypertension if they follow guidelines for adequate nutrition. So the quality of care and feeding offered to children is critically dependent on the women's education, social status, and workload, according to the United Nations Committee on Nutrition. So addressing the gender inequalities can help in ensuring that women get the nutrition they need, improving their own health and that of their own families, therefore will ultimately contribute to their society's development. So women who have greater control over household resources will tend to be healthier and even better nourished, as do their families, because women tend to spend even more on nutrition, health, as well as well-being of their households. So how does a women nutrition status affect the national economics? Malnutrition in women will lead to economic losses for families, communities, and even countries because malnutrition will reduce the women's ability to work and can even create a ripple effect that stretch through the generation. Also, malnutrition lead to reduced income from malnourished citizens and even face long-term problems that are related to low birth weight, including high rates of cardiac disease and diabetes in adults. So problems that relate to anemia, for example, including cognitive impairment in children and low productivity in adults, will cost about $5 billion in a year in South Asia alone. So a recent report from Asia shows that malnutrition reduces human productivity by about 10% to even 15%. So by improving the nutrition of adolescents there and women as well, the nations can reduce their healthcare costs, increase their intellectual capacity, improve adult productivity as well. So some of the programs that have been developed to improve women health, as an example, is the Integrated Child Development Services Scheme that was developed in the 1975. It had beneficiary of children below the age of 6, pregnant and lactating women, women in the age of 15 to 45, also adolescent girls in selected blocks. This program offered services including supplementary nutrition of vitamin A, iron, and folic acid, as well as immunization, health checkups, and referral service, and more importantly, treatment of minor illnesses and nutrition education. So following these, several programs has been developed, including the special nutrition program that provided supplementary feeding of about 300 calories and 10 grams of protein to the preschool children and about 500 kilocalories to expecting and nursing mother for 6 days a week. So this was also followed by the Applied Nutrition Program, and the beneficiaries are included children between the ages of 2 to 6, as well as pregnant and lactating mothers, with giving them adequate nutritional supplementation. So there are different programs that have been implemented. Each has its own success, as well as its own impact on the population health in general to improve the best outcome of their health condition. So it is not just about women and not just for women addressing women health. It is necessary and effective approach to strengthen the health system overall and therefore actions that will benefit everyone. So improving the women's health matters to women and to their families as well as the community and to the society in large. So improving women's health can in general lead to improving our world. So for meal planning for working women, specifically those working in late nights, such as healthcare professionals, uh, how can we include snacks in their routine? So, in specific, night shift workers are probably losing their good health faster than you can say hello. As long hours of work with hectic work schedule have put in an increasing number of young professionals burning the midnight oil at risk of major health disease. So typically, shift workers experience irregular appetite, weight gain, or even loss, and even have higher rates of gastrointestinal disorders. So, some possible reasons for this are too much caffeine, high fat snacking, infrequent eating during the day, or even overeating at night and lack of exercise. So, minor complaints can range from premature graying hair, loss of sleep, digestive disorders, and even stress. So some of the advice include the diet by trying to maintain a healthy one. This can be challenging for those who work at night shift, as this is due to the disruption of their natural rhythm of the human body. So we all have cycles for daylight and evening hours, which can help in guiding us through our daily routine. And these rhythms can change drastically along with working schedules. So, in order for late shift workers to maintain a healthy eating patterns, it is necessary to adopt a certain strategies and tips as well, so that they may even be productive at work without sacrificing their own health. So, to maintain adequate sleep patterns, they usually has to adapt their sleep hours to accommodate their working hours. And sometimes it is difficult to maintain stamina, which can cause a night shift worker to use caffeinated beverage in order to stay awake. So this can produce a vicious cycle of sleep deprivation as the body becomes more accustomed to having caffeine in order to function. So lack of sleep can cause other deficiencies which trigger a hormonal imbalance and bad eating habits, therefore making the person more prone to battles including overweight issues. So it is important to ensure that getting adequate sleep is made a priority and maintained regularly. Therefore, avoiding caffeine 5 or even more hours before bedtime is recommended, as well as having a light snack before bedtime to alleviate hunger and even improve sleep quality. Also, shift workers should be aware of special gastrointestinal issues, as late shift workers can have more delicate digestive system, and as a result, they can become more sensitive to foods that are generally tolerated when eating or eaten during the daytime. So it is a good idea to avoid snack and foods that are fried or even heavy in salt and fat. And sometimes having healthy foods such as cucumber, cabbage, onion, and some spicy food may also need to be avoided late at night, as this can trigger the gastrointestinal tract. So consuming caffeine and other foods that can cause indigestion or heartburn should be reduced or even eliminated in these cases. So another important thing to consider is having regular exercise, in particular making every effort to exercise before, during, or after the work shift, as this can be helpful in assisting maintaining the overall health and alertness. Also, taking breaks as part of the shifts can promote feeling more energized and even make it easier to confront working during later hours. So, keeping healthy foods at home and bringing them prepared as snacks and ready to be consumed during the late night shift can be helpful to consuming less fat and calories. It can also serve to save time and money as well. So eating smaller meals that are balanced with low healthy fat and dairy products, as well as high in protein, having plenty of fruit and vegetables, in addition to whole grains before 1 a.m. is a good strategy. So for ease, we should use leftover to assemble healthy on-the-go meals and meal substitute of lean cuisine and healthy choices dinners can include low-fat, low-sodium options to which fruit and yogurt can be added for a complete and satisfying meal. So healthy snack ideas can include vegetables, fruit, and cottage cheese, as well as whole wheat crackers, cheese sticks, yogurt, and popcorn. So how can we make the switching to a night shift easier? It can take few weeks to get used to working the night shift. So going from day shift to the night shift can be a difficult transition, as the body circadian sleep rhythm program programs us to be active during daylight and rest at night. So if this is not executed properly, switching to the night shift can cause stress, high blood pressure, poor eating habits, and even exhaustion. So following a few tips will allow for a smooth transition. First, we should give our body fuel by eating healthy, energy-boosting food before our shift, such as fresh fruit and vegetables, whole grain and protein-rich snacks. We should, however, avoid sugary or caffeinated drink, as we don't want to become dependent on them or even suffer from an energy crash later in our shift. We should also remain hydrated with water. In addition to this, reversing our eating schedule, even though that we will be used to be eating smallest meals in the morning and having the large meal at night, it would be difficult to work after eating a huge dinner. So eating the large meal after leaving work in the morning and therefore having the smallest meal just before going to work can give us more energy intake. Also, keeping energized, even though that it is tempting to allow our day to revolve around eating, sleeping, and working, we need to make sure that we exercise as much as possible, as this will help in reducing the stress level and providing us with energy throughout the day. So if possible, we should exercise during a break at work if we are feeling a bit tired or not as energized. Also, getting the rest when we need it, with as studies has shown that about 10 to even 20 minutes nap can be greatly beneficial for restoring energy. This should be conducted instead of drinking coffee on a coffee break and therefore taking a short nap. Also, we shouldn't go right to sleep after work, as we should model our day as much as possible after those who work in the day shift, as day shift workers typically take time to unwind after work before going to bed. Therefore, it is recommended to take a few hours to run errands, spend time with families, eat a healthy meal, or even catch up on reading before heading to sleep. And when it is time to sleep, we should shut out the day and benefit from convenience to their body, as well as actually sleeping during the night hours. Also, keeping the night shift schedule on our days off can be helpful in seeming as adding a routine to our schedule and not encouraging the body to return to a day shift effect. So some of the health effects on night shift workers include affecting the circadian cycle, as night shift workers essentially reverse their circadian cycle, aiming to sleep during the daytime hours and working during the nighttime hours, as this can cause a variety of metabolic and hormonal problems, including heart disease, diabetes, as well as depression. Also, lack of sunlight that will help in regulating the blood flow to the brain along with the level of serotonin and melatonin in the body, as night shift workers commonly don't experience much sunlight, which will often result in an unbalanced level of these hormones, therefore resulting in depression, anxiety, and even loss of energy. And for serotonin, an article that was published in 2007 on the Sleep Journal noted that people who work in the night shift have a significantly lower level of chemical serotonin. So, low amount of serotonin will greatly increase the risk of depression. In addition to this, insomnia, as they adjust into their new schedule, workers on the night shift will commonly experience bouts of insomnia or difficulty sleeping. And unfortunately, having frequent insomnia is a precursor for depression, and workers will feel as though they will never adjust to the new schedule and will feel exhausted during most of their waking hours. Also, isolation, as working the night shift will commonly cause the employee to miss family function and social activities, as this will lack the socialization and the quality of family time, which can result in feeling of guilt, loneliness, and even depression. Also, a study has found that women will be at risk of developing breast cancer as disturbance of the sleep-wake cycle may increase cancer risk by affecting melatonin level. And in reality, it is difficult to disentangle the shift workers from many other lifestyle factors among people with cancer, but it is believed that shift work can affect the body clock and the release of hormone, including melatonin. And at night, melatonin is released and can help regulate the sleep patterns. So imbalance of melatonin also lower the level of the female hormone estrogen and a development which is known to encourage the growth of certain cancers. So if a person spends too long in artificial light, such as shift workers, researchers believe that this could affect the amount of melatonin released, therefore increasing the risk of breast cancer. Also, rotating shifts can work up diabetes risk in women, as women who are subject to rotating schedules will compromising about 3 or more night shifts per month are considered to be vulnerable to type 2 diabetes risk compared to women who only work on days or evening shifts. So this study was led by researchers at Harvard School of Public Health and found that extended years of rotating shift work was associated with weight gain, which causes increased risk of type 2 diabetes. So how can we eat on a night shift? Maintaining a healthy diet, which is a balanced diet of carbohydrate, protein, and omega-3 fat found, for example, in walnuts, and tuna or herring will assist in maintaining energy throughout the night. Also, avoiding spicy and high fat foods at night, as the body at night digestive system will slow down and doesn't easily digest heavy foods. And adjusting our eating habit will increase the energy levels. Also, we should be conscious of the caloric intake, as third shift forces us to eat meals at odd times and having extra meals that are eaten because of family meals in the morning or even at dinner time. So a third shift worker are often awake for long periods of time than people who work a traditional shift. And if we know that we will be awake for a long period of time, we should eat smaller caloric meals to space our caloric intake throughout the day. So how can we eat if we have a night shift? We should prepare snacks at homes to bring to work, including yogurt, salad, fruits. That will help us in avoiding readily available vending machine snacks that are high in fat and in calorie. Also, we should space the snacks out between each meal so that our blood natural sugar level doesn't dive in between meals and we will have a normoglycemia. Also, we should adjust the eating pattern of working hours by eating when we wake up and spacing out meals as if on a day shift schedule. Also, we should limit caffeine intake, and drinking too much coffee or other caffeinated beverage will affect our ability to sleep. Therefore, this should be limited or at least consumed 5 hours before our sleep time. So, for example, for breakfast, even though that most of us eat breakfast before we start our work day, night shift workers can benefit more by having breakfast shortly after their work day as ended. So, if we get off from work during the morning hours, such as 5 a.m. or even 9 a.m., this would be the best time to have breakfast. So this could consist of a bowl of high fiber cereal, 2 slices of toast with butter and jam, and a glass of juice. So we can also vary this from time to time, but having 2 eggs and 3 slices of proteins can be a good source in this case. And for lunch, after sleeping during the day, a lunch time can actually be around 4 to 7 p.m. in the evening and will normally be considered a small meal, but in case of night shift worker, this should be considered the main meal. And for dinner, since we will have dinner on our lunch break, for example, at work, it will most likely be a lighter meal. So this can include a sandwich with lettuce, tomato, and some fresh raw fruit or even vegetable salad, and some high protein source. And for snack, we should keep our energy level while working by having nutritious snacks. Some examples include having an apple or few grapes, having peanut butter with a sandwich, or low salt popcorn. So these are some of the trends of night shift workers, including their schedules between the years of 1991 to 2009. So we can see by that the diagram that there has been an increased trend in working in night shift, which is leading to lots of stress and health-related issues among women who, or even people in general, who are unaware of its all effects on the long run. So firms employing people for night shift must employ proper nutrition to maintain proper health eating habits for the employees in these cases. So another important consideration in assessing the health of working women is the policies and management strategies for better healthy weight. So for managing weight, having a quantity of food that are capable of producing an amount of energy is what is known as calories. So for girls, this should be between 1800 to 2400 calories, depending on the activity levels. And this is higher for males than in females. So the average American diet, for example, eats about 4,000 calories per a day, which is very high in caloric, therefore will lead to obesity. So the percentage of adults aged 20 and over who are obese is almost 34%. So the prevalence of overweight trend among the US adults is increasing and around the world in general due to lack of good dietary habits. Therefore, having some policies to manage weight gain or nutritional status should be our aim or major focus. So the desirable weight is the weight that is healthier for a person. And the factors that influence weight include age, height, gender, the body frame, the BMI or the basal metabolic rate, the percent of muscle tissue, as well as the activity level of that person. So the factors and the body frame of that affect the weight include the approximate weight and density of the bone structure, as small or even medium or large can be determined by measuring the wrist to determine the firm or the bone density. So for the basal metabolic rate is the number of calories that the body uses at rest to exert energy for the normal body function. And calories are defined as unit of energy produced by food and used by the body. So its essential body factors or fat is the amount of body fat that are needed for optimal health. So every person needs to consume fat, but in the recommended amount and not more to avoid us from developing obesity. And for the percent of muscle tissue, as the muscle tissues or burns more calories at rest than any other tissues of the body. Also, exercising can increase the muscle tissue. Therefore, this would mean that more calories will be burned throughout the day, even at rest. So some of the factors that, such as the activity level, will also affect our energy intake. For example, if a person is inactive, this is having no activity beyond the baseline, this will be unhealthy. Therefore, the person will suffer from mostly obesity or even overweight, depending upon their activity level. And a person who is very active or have a high activity level that is regarded as more than 300 minutes per a week, current science doesn't allow researchers to identify an upper limit of activity above which there are no additional health benefits, but rather the minimum required health level to ensure that the person have the best health outcome. And for the body weight indications, having a healthful body fat will even fortune the males as well as for females between 16 to 24% as an indication. So some of the tests to assess the weight include the skin fold thickness test, having underwater weighting, or even bench fold of the skins on the upper arm, and then estimating the thickness. If it was more than 1 inch in the thickness, then we have excessive body fat as a general rule. Also, assessing BMI, this can be calculated by any online calculator that determines the charts of using mathematical formulas. So BMI is divided into different aspects. Having a BMI under 18 will be regarded as underweight, and that over 30 will be considered to be obese. This is a chart for calculating BMI based on body weight and height to determine the weight range. So for weight management, we need to have a diet and exercise plan to maintain or attain a desirable body weight or body composition in general. Also, weight management plan based on caloric intake and caloric expenditure is the optimal method for ensuring that we have the best outcome in general in terms of our weight. In addition, having or consuming caloric food and beverage should be calculated to ensure for the best outcome, as well as the caloric expenditure, which is the number of calories a person uses for their basal metabolism, digestion, and physical activity levels in general. So 1 pound is equal to about 3,500 calories. Therefore, this will be equal to losing 2 kilocalorie, 2 kgs. Therefore, we need to burn about 3,000 calories. And to gain 1 pound, which is 2 kilograms, we must eat over a period of week and take in 3,500 more calories than our expected usual intake. And for some weight loss strategies, in following the fat diet, which is defined as a quick weight loss strategy that is popular for a short time or a short period. Therefore, we should lose weight and gain it back when resuming the regular eating habit, as this would be regarded as unsuitable method for weight loss. Also, having liquid diet that is defined as a diet in which beverages are substituted for some or all meals, and these are regarded to be as a dangerous method to lose weight, therefore shouldn't be followed. Also, OTCs, which is bills, diet, purchase, and drug stores or grocery stores, these can be dangerous, addictive, and even ineffective, as it can have other health impact on the body, including negatively impacting the liver in specific. Also, for laxative and diuretics, these can help a person that have bowel movement issues, as well diuretics that are products that increase the amount of urine excreted and can have some form of a negative impact. So only losing fluid, not weight, and will have calories that are still used in the body and stored as fat. Therefore, immediately after stopping these medication, a person will regain their lost weight. So eating habits and exercise is the best management policy to ensure a sufficient weight gain or weight loss depending on our goal. Also, the best and most consistent way to lose weight is to each have a healthy, well-balanced diet and to even exercise. So eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner are important at all times in order to ensure that we have sufficient caloric intake. And having small, frequent meals will have a better impact in general on our health outcome. In addition, the best way to maintain current weight is to eat a healthy, well-balanced diet and to exercise, as well as we may see no result at first, but sticking it out and we will begin to see results with personal experience, and therefore this is recommended at all times. And most importantly, for physical activity for adolescents, they should engage in 60 minutes or more of physical activity on a daily basis. These can include having aerobic exercise, and most of 60 or more minutes a day should be either in moderate or vigorous intensity aerobic physical activity. So all of these can be helpful in ensuring that we maintain our weight. So the aspect of physical fitness will include increasing the muscle strength, having better muscle endurance, having cardiovascular endurance, flexibility, and body composition in general. So all of these factors can be helpful at all times to ensure that we have the best weight management policy. And for the muscular strength, it is the ability of the muscle to execute force during an activity. And the key to making our muscles stronger is working them against resistance. Also, the type of resistance exercise that we conduct, these include if we want to gain muscle strength, then we should try to exercise as lifting weight, which will have the best outcome in general. And for the muscular endurance, we should have, which is defined first of all as the ability of the muscle to continue to perform without fatigue. Also, to improve our muscle endurance, we should try cardiorespiratory activities such as walking or jogging, as well as bicycle or even dancing. So less weight will mean more repetitions and therefore having better outcome. So for physical fitness, the muscular strength and endurance will have benefits of maintaining or increasing the bone mass, as well as reducing the body fat, reducing blood pressure, and even having control over our blood glucose level. So all of these can have many benefits on endurance training and strength training to ensure the best outcome or health outcome. And for the cardiovascular endurance, it is the ability of the body to have circulatory and respiratory systems to supply fuel during sustained physical activity. This will be helpful in improving our cardiovascular endurance and trying activity that keep our heart rate elevated at a safe level in general. So the activity we choose to do doesn't have to be strenuous to improve our cardiorespiratory endurance, but rather it should be consistent, even if it was for as low as 5 or 10 minutes in a day. So cardiovascular endurance will benefit us from decreasing the heart rate. Also, will have a better blood flow and distribution, as well as having lower blood pressure and improving the heart rate or ability to pump blood throughout the body and having increased energy supply throughout the day. And for the body composition, it refers to the relative amount of muscle, fat, bones, and other vital parts of the body, as fat loss compared to lean mass loss will affect the muscles, the bone, the tendon, and even the ligaments of the body. So the bathroom scale doesn't assess how much body weight is fat and how much is lean mass. Therefore, we should take in consideration assessing these factors before assessing for those implants. And for gaining healthy weight, we should set a reasonable goal within a certain time period. Also, the greatest gain will be made in the first 3 months. Also, in untrained young men, it can be approximately about 3 pounds per a month to lose weight. And an individual on a weight gain program should follow the same dietary principles that are advocated for those who are maintaining or even trying to lose body weight. So the only major difference will be that greater amount of food will be consumed to gain weight in general. So increasing caloric intake, adding pound of muscle a week, therefore we need to increase the caloric intake to approximately 400 kilocalories per a day. So for protein and muscles, we need to assess taking protein shakes, as most Americans consume the necessary amount of protein that are needed in order to gain muscles. But when lacking in protein, having a protein shake can be helpful. Also, many people drinking protein shake for energy before workout will increase the level of these factors as well. Also, some use anabolic steroid, which doesn't in itself bring about any significant improvement in strength as aerobic endurance, lean body mass, or body weight. Therefore, there is no conclusive scientific evidence that extremely large doses of anabolic androgenic steroid will aid or even affect the athletic performance in general. Also, for protein and muscle, many people assume that protein is the important food for increasing muscle mass, but total energy intake is primarily from carbohydrate and should therefore be assessed in these cases. So for caffeine as well, health officials recommend no more than 100 milligram per day, and having an average of soda that is 12 ounce will contain about 18 to 55 milligram, and coffee contain as well about 80 to 120 milligram of caffeine, and therefore this intake should be taken into consideration. This is an example of caffeine content in some sugary drink or caffeinated drinks. So the health risk of excessive caffeine intake include abnormal heart rate, cardiac arrest, and even death in extreme cases. Also, it can lead to dehydration as well as mild addiction, including having mood swings in most cases that can negatively impact these persons. So for the lifelong nutrition recommendation, it requires us all to actively engage in healthy eating habits and engaging in physical activity. Also, knowing how to manage our weight will allow us to engage in lifelong nutrition as well. And we will develop skills and habits that will help guide us through our lifelong nutrition habits by having food labeling and food guide pyramids as well in all cases. So some of the other policies, management, and strategies for weight gain or weight management. First of all, we need to understand that weight is important to us as health and overall well-being for disease prevention, have competitive sports and training, as well as self-esteem are all important aspects of having desirable body weight in all cases. So everyone is looking for an answer for weight management, but it is not easy to have the best outcome or assess for the best factors in these cases. So obesity is increasing as physical activity decrease and lead to decrease in the metabolic rate. Also, if energy expenditure drops more than energy intake, then weight gain will occur in all of these cases. So overweight is defined as having 1 to 19% above one ideal weight. Also, obesity is defined as above 19% of the person ideal weight. So for BMI, which is the optimum cutoff value and an index of the relationship between height and weight. So many health risks associated with weight include diabetes, heart disease, dyslipidemia, as well as sleep apnea and breathing problem, also some types of cancer, depression, and hypertension. So all of these issues can develop with weight gain or inappropriate dietary habits. So some of the risk factors for obesity include increased energy intake or decreased energy expenditure, as well as increased sedentary nature of many jobs, even having TV and video games or automated equipment will all lead to higher risk of developing obesity. Also, there are some hereditary factors, psychosocial factors, metabolic changes, as well as gender and obesity, as women are more vulnerable to weight gain than in men. So other factors include developmental factors such as hyperplasia, which is excessive number of fat in the cells, also hypertrophy, which is increased size of cells in general. Some of the commonly used approach in obese individuals uh, to lose weight is dieting, which is a huge factor, as well as billions of dollars are spent annually, and yet everyone is still fat in these cases. Also, healthy products consumers are desperate and uneducated in most cases and will look for the best method or the fastest method to lose weight. So for the prevalence of dieting, about 40% of all women around the world are obese and 25% of them are also obese or overweight. So diet products are about $33 billion industry around the world. And almost all diets are unsuccessful, as 50% of those who lose weight will regain the weight within 2 years, and about 5 to 10% of them keep the weight off permanently. So why does most diet fail? This is due to factors affecting the initial motivations of losing weight, as well as trouble with compliance, fall with the diet blame self, as well as regain inspection. So many factors can affect the regaining of weight in most cases. Also, having some fad diet trends that are successful because in the end, you are eating fewer calories than you usually do, but after stopping that, we will regain our lost weight. So, does the eating plan make you happier, or are you constantly obsessed with food? Is an important question that we need to ask when we are preparing our food or consuming our diet. So, yo-yo dieting is also another term in which an increased resistance to lose weight with increased efficiency of the weight gain, as well as having a high reflex impact. So problems with fat diet include that weight loss is often water losses, and supplements may be dangerous in these cases, and diet may even lack essential nutrients, and metabolism may slow down if caloric intake is very low. Also, most, if not all, are simply not working for most people over the long term. Also, having fixed menus and some flexibility will allow us to achieve the best outcome in most cases. So having low carb marketing diet, there are over 600 new low carb products that are introduced on a yearly basis. And some of the problems that appears with these concepts is that the caloric is still a calorie, and many dieters consuming these products are claiming to have stopped losing weight in many cases. So, fact is that low carb food are not necessarily low caloric food. It is overeating calories, which make us gain weight, and not overeating carbohydrates in general. So we will compensate by consuming or having another source of energy in most cases. So some of the weight loss supplements are different, but all of which are not a safe alternative to following a well-balanced diet in most cases. So most of them are not regulated by FDA and can affect each person on a different basis. They can also be expensive, and most of these products, as I mentioned, are not safe. So some of the problem with appetite suppressants is that many people use non-prescription appetite suppressants to control eating, and epidural-related products have been found to be dangerous and have been banned by the FDA in many cases. So it is very important to understand why we gain weight, as real weight gain occurs when and only when our calories is exceed the caloric output, and for an extended period of time, not for a short period of time. So the principles of weight control is to have a balance between intake and expenditure in most cases when we are consuming meals. So at the end, it is for weight loss to occur, there must be a caloric deficiency in order to maintain our weight loss and also to achieve a balanced caloric intake and develop a healthy dietary habits in order not to regain the weight we have lost. There is no right solution, but we should focus on macronutrients such as carbohydrate, protein, and fat. Also, the micronutrients, including having enough vitamins, mineral, and water, and all of which are considered to be part of a healthy diet plan in general, not just following the most fastest way to lose weight. So to break down our caloric intake, 1 gram of carbohydrate will give us 4 calories, and 1 gram of protein will also give us 4 calories, while for fat, 1 gram will give us 9 calories. So the total caloric distribution in the diet should be about 50 to 60% from carbohydrate and 20 to 25% of calories from protein, and about 15 to 20% of calories coming from fat. So a healthy eater will respect the differences between carbohydrate food and the nutrient-dense versus the nutrient-intense one. Also, they will respect the differences between fats, the saturated, the trans, and the monounsaturated fatty acids, as well as know that in addition to choosing the right food, most of the time all food can fit in these cases. So how can we do that? By balancing, having a variety, and also moderation in our food intake. So having healthy food choices, watching the portion size, exercising, sleeping, and also stress management in most cases. Also, we need to assess whether a product is healthy or healthy in terms of their nutrient content, which means that they will have a very high nutrient content that will have increased caloric intake. Also, we need to develop a weight loss program or plan. With each person that is different, we take into consideration, as well as experimenting to find the best method that works for us and expecting to be successful by following our dietary guidelines. We should also consider the percentage of macronutrients, the kilocaloric intake, the vitamin and minerals, as well as the safety and efficacy of supplements and whether the diet is suitable or not. And most importantly, we need to have a lifestyle approach in terms of having healthy eating patterns, regular activity, and a simple, effective method for long-term weight control is also recommended. And a healthy eating pattern should balance eating variety of food, having smaller, frequent meals, avoiding binge eating, and reducing fat intake, as well as that fat is caloric dense and it is more easily stored than carbohydrate and protein. Therefore, this should be taken into consideration when we are assessing our dietary intake. So healthy eating patterns will have low glycemic load diet that may be more sensible alternative to a low carbohydrate diet. Also, artificial sweeteners and fat substitute may help but cannot be considered as a sure cure for the body fat problems. Also, avoiding anything with ephedra and restricting empty calories as well as learning the differences between craving and hunger in most cases to ensure that we have the right cues for consuming food. So some of the benefits for also exercising for weight loss, including burn calories, maintaining low BMI, as well as increasing metabolism, promoting greater fat loss, and suppressing appetite. And the best type of exercise is aerobic exercise with strength or muscle endurance exercise. So we need to consume 3 regular meals, having 3 small meals with snacks, or even 6 small meals with snacks. And this should be a personal preference and depend on our schedule and what we consider a meal and a snack is in order to have the best health outcome and dietary habits in general. Some examples of healthy snacks include raw vegetables and low-fat dips, having carrot, fruits, or sliced turkey and sandwiches, or even cereals and yogurt. We should also have a journal to record our progress throughout our dietary habits, taking healthy snacks with us to consume whenever needed, as well as maintaining adequate caloric intake at all times. And most importantly, we need to ensure consuming adequate water and reducing our caffeine intake, especially from carbonated beverage such as soda drinks, and consuming a healthy, balanced meal. And most importantly, we should consume a weight management policy plan when a person is ready to lose weight, and eating shouldn't be a deprivation, but rather should be based on dietary habits and preference. So first of all, BMI is a useful estimation of person weight status for classifying a person health status and their health risk as well. In addition, BMI based on the concept that weight should be proportional to height, and it is less accurate for those under 5 feet tall and for older adults as well as other groups such as persons who are extremely athletic. So BMI is combined with waist measurement to more accurately assess health risk. Also, weight measurement will help in providing an assessment of the body fat distribution and visceral fats that are defined as fat located around major organs and also called intra-abdominal fat. And for the subcutaneous fats, these are fats located under the skin. This is an example of the prevalence of fat by age and gender between 29 and 2012. So obesity is one of the major 6 contributable risk factors for heart disease, as gaining weight over the years has been found to be dangerous, and even a modest weight loss has a positive impact over health in all cases. So some of the factors that contribute to obesity or weight gain include genetic factors, such as genes that influence the body size and shape, also fat distribution, metabolic rate, and even tendency to gain weight, as well as tendency to develop obesity that may be inherited, but the expression that the tendency is affected by other environmental factors as well. There are also some physiological factors, including metabolism, which is a key physiological factor in regulation of the body fat and the body weight. Also, metabolism is the sum of processes by which food, energy, and the nutrients are made available to and used by the body. Also, hormones play a role in addition to lifestyle factors, as increased energy intake and decreased physical activity have a significant effect on the body weight. Also, psychosocial and cultural factors can impact our weight gain as well. And for metabolism and energy balance, resting metabolic rate, which is the energy required to maintain vital body functions, including respiration, heart rate, and body temperature, while the body is at rest. There is also the RMR, which is dedicated by many factors, including genes as well as behavior. There is also higher BRMR, meaning that the person burns more caloric while at rest and can take in more caloric without gaining weight. So hormones as well is considered to be a physiological factors affecting weight gains as they play a role in the accumulation of body fat, especially for women. In addition, leptin is secreted by the body fat cells and lets the brain know how big or even how small the body fat stores are. In addition to this, some lifestyle factors include eating habits, as people underestimate the portion size, as well as the American average caloric intake has increased by about 20% since the 1980s. And physical activity is another important factor, lifestyle factor, that can impact our weight gain. So the incidence of overweight is consistently linked to excessive screen time, and fewer than 5% of American adults will participate in daily physical activity for at least 30 minutes on a daily basis. And binge eating is considered a psychosocial factor that affects our weight gain as patterns of eating in which normal food consumption is interrupted by episodes of high consumption. And obesity is strongly associated with socioeconomic status, and in some families and cultures, food is used as a symbol of love and caring, and therefore can be uh, impacted as a social factor that affect weight gain. And for the cultural factors is the food choices that are also affected by food marketing and pricing, as well as its production and distribution system. So adopting a healthy lifestyle for successful weight management, including healthy behavior patterns that have a better chance of taking hold in early adulthood. Also adopting healthy behaviors which can be maintained throughout life, and having healthy eating habits, physical activity, and exercise that will have positive impact on these factors as well. So the total caloric intake suggests approximate daily energy intake based on gender, age, and activity level. And the best approach for weight loss is increasing physical activity and decreasing caloric intake. There is also portion size calculation by limiting the portion size, which is critical for weight management approaches. And for energy densities, it is the number of calories that a person ounces or grams of weight in the food that are present. Also, the eating habits of eating smaller, frequent meals, consuming the majority of calories during the day, and avoiding eating directly before sleeping can have an impact factor. So these are some examples of food that are low in energy and density in these factors. So physical activity and exercise can burn the calories and keep the metabolism geared to using food for energy rather than storing fats in itself. So all physical activity will help in managing weight. Also, people who lose weight and don't regain it will typically burn about almost 3,000 calories per week through exercise alone. So we should start on regular exercise programs that include cardiorespiratory exercise, resistance training, and stretching, as well as having moderate intensities, endurance exercise, and can burn significant number of calories, and therefore having regular physical activity will make weight management easier in most cases. So having low self-esteem and negative emotion that accompany weight gain are significant problems that people can face. So we need to set realistic goals and engage in positive self-talk and problem solving. Also developing some coping strategies as many people use eating as a way to cope, in addition to analyzing our eating habits with a fresh eye. Also, doing it by ourselves with focusing on adapting healthy lifestyle, combining modest cuts in energy intake with exercise, and avoiding very low calorie diet. Also, avoiding negative energy balance of about 1,000 calories per day that will produce weight loss, but not restricting the calories to less than 1,200 calories per day. Also, maintaining weight loss can be a bigger challenge than losing weight, as we need to stick to our dietary habits and not go back immediately to the previously bad dietary habits that were conducted to avoid super weight gain. In addition, using books that advocate a balanced approach to diet, plus exercise and the nutritional advice can be recommended. And we need to avoid books that advocate an unbalanced way of eating and claiming to have secrets or scientific breakthrough with using promises of fast weight loss. So having dietary supplements and aiding the diet, according to the FTCs, can be more than half of the advertisement for weight loss products, making representations that are likely to be false, as well as having some hidden, undisclosed ingredients that are becoming problems in weight loss products, such as formal drinks and food bars that need to be avoided, as well as herbal supplements and other type of supplements, or such as fibers. Also, having a weight loss program with non-commercial weight loss programs that take off pounds sensibly and overeat anonymous and can provide group support. And these commercial programs typically provide group support and nutrition education with physical activity in most cases. So, a reasonable and safe weight loss program should be safe and balanced. Also, it should promote slow, steady weight loss, offer physician evaluation and monitoring, as well as including plans for weight maintaining after the weight loss phase is over, and also be upfront about the fees, including the cost and prepared packages food as well to ensure for the best outcome. So having a clinical weight loss program that is usually in hospital or other medical setting is recommended. The cost of the clinical program is usually high, but the insurance often cover parts of the fees in these cases. So having appetite suppressants will reduce feelings of hunger or increase feeling of fullness, and most of which are approved only for short-term use and not for long-term use. Also, a few are approved for longer term use but have some side effects to them. So, the latest federal guidelines advising trying lifestyle modification for at least 6 months before trying any medication or drug therapy. In addition, surgery can be a helpful solution for extremely obese, as about, for example, 6% of Americans are severely obese, meaning they have a BMI of over 40 or higher. So having a bariatric surgery may be recommended for patients with a BMI that is greater than 40 or higher. So having liposuction will involve the removal of a small amount of fat from a specific location, and can be regarded as another possible intervention. In addition to this, if concerning about the body weight and shape development into an eating disorder, then professional help is recommended to ensure the best outcome at all management plans or management policies. In addition, the body image, including the mental representation of a person holds about their body, should be consistent with the perception, the image, thought, as well as the attitude of that person in order to ensure that they have the best outcome in most cases. So some of the severe body image problem is the body dysmorphic disorder, as the body image may bear little resemblance to the fact, as well as the muscle dysmorphia that can be included. Another important factor is acceptance and the change, as weight management needs to take place in a positive and realistic atmosphere. Also, hazards of excessive dieting and over concerns about the body weight need to be countered by change in attitude. As well as eating behaviors in which serious disturbance in eating patterns or eating related behavior are characterized by negative body image and concerns about the body weight or the body fat. This can affect up to 24 million people in the US alone, and it is classified as a mental disorder that can impact the person's mental well-being. There is also anorexia nervosa, in which eating disorder characterized by refusal to maintain body weight at a minimally healthy level and having intense fear of gaining weight or becoming fat. This will lead in most cases to self-starvation. Also, bulimia nervosa, which is another eating disorder that is characterized by recurrent episodes of binge eating and purging to prevent weight gain. So purging is using of vomiting or excessive or even excessive exercise or diuretic or diet pills to compensate for the food that has been eaten and that the person fears will produce a weight gain. There is also the binge eating disorders, in which are eating disorders that are characterized by binge eating and lack of control over eating behaviors in general. So all of these are characterized by an uncontrollable eating without any compensatory purging behavior. Also, binge eaters are almost always obese in most cases and need to be treated for their eating disorders in order to maintain their best outcome. There is also the borderline eating disorder, in which some symptoms of eating disorder but doesn't meet full diagnostic criteria for eating disorder. So treating these eating disorders, even if their different types, include they must address the problematic eating behavior and misuse of food to manage emotions. By addressing or managing these issues with regular policies involvement, we will have a better outcome. Also, having a mild patterns that may benefit from nutrition shifts up with the registered dietitian to follow up with the participants and have an appropriate policy for their weight management plan and their expected outcome to have the best result in all of these cases is recommended as well for the best weight management policies in working women.